Today we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know for CS2 investing. Starting off with the Austin Major. Right now this is the ongoing major and there is a lot of potential investments inside this area. First up, if you're looking at the sticker capsules, you're going to be seeing extremely low ROIs, and this isn't for no reason. That's because we got the 75% off sale coming up. Now this does potentially make investments viable. When we get that 75% off sale, we're looking at a 25-cent capsule. However, there is a lot of risk with this that people don't really realize. We want to look at Paris. We saw a massive amount of capsules drop down in price. I think it's a very strong possibility that the Austin Major could take a while to develop a strong price point or even be a potential investment. We don't really know. You've also got other investments such as the Major Pass or souvenir packages that do come along with the Major. Now, in my opinion, souvenir packages are a little bit hit or miss. We've seen some become very profitable and we've seen some become even less than $3, which is absolutely insane considering that's the price point they're pegged at. In my opinion, I would say overall, just keep your money to yourself. If you're looking to invest in the Austin Major, you're going to have more than enough time to do so and you don't need to rush it right now. Skinland is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free $10 on your first trade. It's where I personally sell my skins because you're going to be getting the highest rate out there. They're offering a maximum amount of money in a minimum amount of time, and it's going to be nearly instant with tons of different payout options. Combine that with their massive marketplace where you're going to be able to buy anything in the entire game you're looking for with a ton of different deposit options here as well. Right now, this is the #1 place to go ahead and sell or buy skins in my personal opinion, so go ahead, use code MasterShiny and check them out today. Now, looking at the case market overall, we can see things are on a pretty solid month. We can see the majority of cases over the past week have really stagnated, but a lot of them are still up for the month quite solidly, and honestly, this is a pretty major amount of profit considering they were up quite a lot just a couple months ago to begin with. Things inside of this area could not be looking better for the rare case market. When we look at those unboxing numbers, we can see the cases that are in demand, and we can see that rare cases make up a small percentage of the total unboxings, but the truth is they're only 1% of the drops, so we can see that there's a massive amount of demand compared to a low amount of supply and very small amount that is still coming in as active supply. If we want to look at this right here, you can see the amount of demand compared to the supply. We are in a massive case deficit, which is why Valve introduced the Gallery and the Fever case if you were not familiar with that. It is very important though that you do make sure you're investing into rare cases that do have demand. Not all of them are created equal. We're going to be breaking down in just a second what cases are potentially in the most demand when we look at this previous data. But right here, we're seeing a very solid outlook for the majority of rare cases, especially the cheaper rare cases, which are what I like to focus in on. If we want to look at this data right here, we can see the price that was 2 years ago, and then we can see the price that is today. We can see the difference, and we can see the percentage change. And if we want to look at the top, the two biggest are not any surprise. We got Riptide and Glove because they were already quite expensive. They blew up as an investment opportunity, and now we can see a massive price point behind them. We've also got some of our discontinued cases, such as the Broken Fang and Shattered Web. 3 of the top 4 are discontinued cases, so that is a very interesting trend. However, I want to focus in on the quantity listed. Now, this is not the overall supply by any means, but it's very interesting to see that the top ones that have really gone down in quantity are really, for the majority, rare cases that are on the cheaper end. We can see our CS20, Danger Zone, Prisma 2, Prisma, Clutch, and a lot of those discontinued cases are up there as well, obviously. This is very interesting because obviously these are the cases that people are most in demand for. If you want to look at the middle, we're seeing a lot of our mid-tier rare cases, the ones that are a little bit more expensive, and the ones that really haven't been changing too much are a little bit more expensive, or obviously your active duty cases, as those are still coming into the game. It's very interesting to look at this data and potentially come up with your own hypothesis of which cases are going to be blowing up next, but I would highly say this is a very important piece of data along with the unboxing numbers to make sure you look at if you're trying to figure out what is the best investment for you to make for the rare case market. Then we got the Armory, which is very interesting because although it is a lot of potential investments, it is just that potential. If you want to look at these, there is a huge opportunity, especially when it comes to the stickers. We'll get to those in a quick second, but all these items are still actively dropping. They're still actively able to be gotten, and if we want to look at something like the collection data, we can see that obviously some of these are in demand, some of them are really not. If we want to look at the stickers though, that's where the really interesting piece is. We can see the massive amount of demand, especially for some of these blue stickers. The biggest problem is obviously the fact that these are just actively dropping. You can get as many of them as you want. If we want to look at the data, we can see that there has been millions generated for the Armory, and I honestly don't think anything Valve does is really going to impact the Armory because this right now is their cash cow. They're not going to be touching this in my personal opinion. A lot of potential investments here, but I'm going to wait until anything gets removed in order to make an investment because that's a lot more of a safe and smart option. Now, talking about the major events we got coming up, first up we got the summer sale less than a week away, and it's very important, if you have not already, go over to the Steam Points shop and redeem your seasonal badge from the winter. It's free XP, and you're going to be able to do this again once summer comes out with the summer sale, but the winter one's going to be gone by then, so it's very important you do that. The summer sale also potentially does bring a little bit lower prices. Really depends on the item. Honestly, it's something we saw a major impact in the past, and it's slowly deteriorated over time. It really depends on the items you're looking for, especially right right now with how hot things are, with how the player base is, it's very possible we will not be seeing any sort of major drops, but it is a possibility. Then we've also got the CS2 player break coming up. After this major ends in just around a couple days, we're going to be able to see a lot of different updates potentially coming in for the map pool for a lot of different areas. This is a huge opportunity because not everyone pays attention to the updates that Valve throws out during this time, but this is when they change things up majorly because it's the player break, people have time to adjust, so there is that potential coming along with that. Now talking about opportunities that have a little bit more unique aspect but huge potential upside, first one's going to be filler skins. Filler skins are highly in demand because the supply is completely cut off for these light blues from the train collection. That's because the collection got moved out of the active collections into the discontinued, therefore no more skins are going to be created other than trade ups, and that creates a huge opportunity because these skins are highly in demand. They're the only ones that give you a significant advantage when you're doing trade ups for light blue skins to blue skins. It's a huge opportunity and it's something I would suggest you check out. Otherwise, we got any operation item that has at least a decent amount of demand. We talked about it earlier, but the discontinued cases ranked very highly for major profit. That's because operation items are also supply capped. If you've got something that does not have any increasing supply, which these major items don't, and they've got a fair amount of demand, which definitely some of them do, it can become some of the best investments. This is collections, this is stickers, this is agents as well if you're really interested in that. Agents are a little bit different, but they still kind of count in this category. I would highly suggest you check out some of these areas if you're looking for something a little bit off the beaten path, but still have a huge amount of potential. As you can see, some of these have ended up being 5, 6, 7, 800% profitability. Then you've got the aspect of huge potential upside, but huge potential risk. This is going to be a lot of your armory items just because right now we don't know how long they're going to last, and especially your active duty and the fever and gallery cases. That's because we don't know what's going to happen to these items. That's the biggest factor when it comes to CS2 investing, is knowing the future of potentially what this item is going to do. Talking about active duty cases, we have no idea how long some of these cases are going to be in the active duty, and therefore it leaves us with a huge potential to just get burned. Some of these items are going to stay stagnant, and you don't want to make sure your money is invested into these because you're not going to get any profit back. There's a lot of opportunities, and looking at the opportunity cost of these active duty and some of these purchasable items, we really don't know where they stand. Even though the unboxing numbers are very solid, they're still going up in supply slightly, so I would definitely be very cautious about anything in this area, but there is a huge amount of profit to be made if you get lucky, but it's just that, getting lucky. Now talking about what is the most important things to watch, first up, definitely watch that rare case market. When we're looking at the unboxing numbers, they are very important for a reason. That's because we can see the cases that are in demand, we can see the price points which are then going to be attached to that. Obviously you can see the value that these cases hold. It's very important. Otherwise, the Austin Major has just a couple days left. It's going to be very important to watch that. We're going to have the Champions capsule coming out, which is not the greatest investment. Usually they fare pretty poorly, but it's still a brand new item coming into the game. There is the potential for it to be different this time, along with that 75% off sale, which you need not forget. And then lastly, we got those big events talking about your summer sale, which we'll break down a little bit more in depth as it gets here. And then you got your player break, some other smaller events with that. Make sure you're using your own information and making your own decisions. That's all I got. Thanks so much for giving us today.